Hey up, it's Steve from the old Yorkshire Geek, and a quick UFO news update. I haven't done UFO news for a while, but there's been a couple of big stories in these last few days, so I thought I'd just cover them. One's about a whistleblower and one's about something else. So there we go. The second story, which we'll get to, thanks to Michelle for giving me this story. Right, so first up, the main story, I suppose, is the big one that's been going round. Whistleblower claims the US has alien vehicles, but The Guardian says, where's the proof? As usual, links in the description down below. Don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. I'm also on Rumble and Spotify, Amazon Music Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And my live streams are on Twitch as well. God knows why, but they are. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Links for those are in the description. As I've links to my two books. Silent Predator, short horror novella about big cats roaming around northern England eating people. And the other one is about UFOs, so it's topical. Germane, one could say, to this video. Mercury Rapids, a light-hearted sci-fi action adventure about UFOs and stuff. That's a UFO there. So there we go. Because the main aliens fly around in the black triangles, but there are some, flying saucers in it as well. Right, so a whistleblower claims the US has alien vehicles, but where's the proof? Experts in UFO law suggest the assertion should be taken with a grain of salt. Well, I think all UFO stories should be taken with a grain of salt. To be completely honest, you've got to be critical. And demand to see evidence of the non-human crafts. And there's an old photo. There you go, 1952 picture taken by US Coast Guard. Shows 4 unidentified flying objects as bright lights in the sky, but it could be anything, couldn't it? But it's a famous photo. Some prominent experts have expressed growing scepticism over whether the US is harbouring UFOs, as the government whistleblower who made the extraordinary claim has gone on to suggest the US has also recovered alien bodies. David Grush, I presume that's how you pronounce it, a former intelligence official who led analysis of unexplained anomalous phenomena, UAP. No, that's not what UAP stands for. Come on, Daily, what is it, Guardian? UAP is unidentified aerial phenomena, isn't it? That's what it stands for. Anyway. Within the US Department of Defense agency, caused headlines around the world with his assertion that the US has been collecting non-human craft for decades. That prompted the US House of Representatives to announce an investigation into Grush's allegations, with a hearing on the issue expected to be announced in the next few weeks. The hearing is set to be the latest official US response in recent years to the issue of UAPs, which has raised heated speculation among UFO believers, as well as prompted national security concerns in America about the possibility of unknown craft from other states that could be penetrating US airspace or operating around the globe. But Grush's whistleblowing claims have grown more dramatic after he has emerged into the public eye and are now facing growing scepticism. About his claims. His claims are facing growing scepticism. After initially telling the Debrief website the government had possession of intact and partially intact alien vehicles, he has gone on to suggest the US has also encountered malevolent alien pilots. Experts in UFO law have suggested his assertion should be taken with a grain of salt, questioned the veracity of his claims and demanded proof. He has not presented anything like the evidence that we would expect to believe something as extraordinary as this, said Garrett Graff, a journalist and historian whose upcoming book, UFO, The Inside Story of the US Government's Search for Alien Life Here and Out There, that's a mouthful for a title, isn't it? Will be published in October. There's no first-hand knowledge. He didn't see these things himself. He didn't touch them. He wasn't part of the operation to retrieve them, and we haven't heard from anyone who was. The Debrief published the allegations from Grush, who left the government in April after a 14-year career in US intelligence on Monday. He told the news outlet that secretive US government agencies and defence contractors had been recovering fragments of non-human craft, and in some cases entire craft, for decades. According to the Debrief, Grush's knowledge of non-human materials and vehicles was based on extensive interviews with high-level intelligence officials. He said he had reported the existence of a UFO material recovery program to Congress and filed a complaint with the Intelligence Community Inspector General. That complaint contained classified locations, program names and other data, the debrief said. But in a follow-up interview with News Nation on Tuesday night, Grush said that the US had also found alien pilots. Quote, well, naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true, Grush said. Grush said there was a sophisticated disinformation program targeting the US populace to suppress information on UFOs, which is a common conspiracy trope in the UFO community. It's odd that they keep mentioning the word UFOs when the go-to phrase these days, particularly from people on the inside, is UAP. But anyway. The story aligns with a lot of similar stories that have played out going back to the 1980s and 1970s that together allege that the US government has kept an incredible secret, the literal most extraordinary secret that mankind could have for not just weeks or months but years and decades, with no meaningful leak or documentary evidence ever to come forward, Graff said. And I think when you look at the government's ability to keep secret other really important secrets, there's a lot of reason to doubt the capability of the government to do that. They're rubbish at keeping secrets, the government are they? But they do keep some secrets. The important ones, they tend to do keep secret. For a while, at least, anyway, until they're declassified. Anyway, as the week has gone on, Grush's claims have expanded even further. He said some of the craft were football field size and told Le Parisien, a French newspaper, sorry, I'm just happy with my French accent, that the US had possession of a Bell-like craft which Benito Mussolini's government had recovered in northern Italy in 1933. Maybe that one ended up in Nazi-occupied Poland, maybe, and became De Glocke, maybe, we'll see. Former colleagues have vouched for Grush's character and another official backed up Grush's account to the debrief. But the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, which was established to investigate UAP, I think they use that phrase then, by the Department of Defence, replacing the UAP task force, which Grush claimed was not allowed access to some materials, issued an unequivocal denial. To date, ARROW, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, has not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. ARROW is committed to following the data and its investigation wherever it leads, said Sue Goff, a spokesperson for the Department of Defence. And just got to say, well, they would say that, wouldn't they? ARROW working with the office, carrying on the quote, ARROW working with the Office of the General Counsel and the Air Force Office of Special Investigations has established a safe and secure process for individuals to come forward with information to aid ARROW in its congressionally mandated historical review. ARROW's historical review of records and testimonies is ongoing and due to Congress by June 2024. ARROW welcomes the opportunity to speak with any former or current government employee or contractor who believes they have information relevant to the historical review. My own personal thing about this is there seem to be a lot of these stories coming out that the US government is officially investigating UFOs, and there's going to be a big report about it, in such and such a time. And then the report comes out, and then it's nothing. It's shoved under the carpet, or it's a nothing burger, and then it all starts again. I don't know why, but then they do another one, and then so they have another report coming out in another year, a year later, and nothing happened with that. And they'll just keep doing that, forever, it seems. Mick West, a science journalist and author who is a noted UFO skeptic, told News Nation that part of Grush's claims were essentially part of UFO mythology. What's that got to do with that? Like Graff, he said the fact that Grush's evidence is second-hand makes it difficult to believe. Okay, so if you heard a story about the Battle of Midway from somebody that wasn't there, but you knew that the events, that people were there, and you knew the event happened, then you'd believe what they said. But because this is something that you personally don't believe in, it didn't happen. Anyway, that's a huge point. He's not someone who worked on any of these programs. He didn't see any photographs. He's not actually seen these things. He's talked to people, West said. And we know there are people who think they've worked on programs. There have been people coming forward many years. It never actually amounts to anything, and it's quite possible that people have become convinced that they're working on programs like this simply because reverse engineering programs of crashed things are actually real. Re-engineering efforts go all the way back to the First World War, when the US began retrieving German equipment from the battlefield and rebuilding it. In his interview, West pointed to the example of Cosmos 954, a Soviet Union satellite that exploded over Canada. A Canadian-American team collected debris, and West said attempted to reassemble it. That would have been top secret. That would have been a highly compartmentalised program, and you could very easily see how people working on a program like this could come to believe that they are actually working on UFOs. But that's not saying, it could be work. But that's different to saying I've seen a dead body of an alien, isn't it? Asked if he believes Grush's story, West said, "I don't think what he's saying is accurate. I think it's quite possible he's believing in what he's saying." That old chestnut. But it's quite an incredible story that really needs some actual verification, and I'm hoping that's going to be coming soon. So basically, he don't believe him because, it goes against his personal beliefs. He doesn't want to keep an open mind. He claims he's keeping an open mind, but he isn't really. Which is what happens a lot. Be sceptical, yes. I mean, I suppose, and say that, you don't personally believe it. But don't say he's lying, and don't try and make up, ways that could explain just for your own headcanon why people might think they're working on UFOs. These people that work on reverse engineering know they know, something from a terrestrial aircraft or a satellite even, our sort of technology from, something that's not of this earth. They know the difference, I'm telling you. Right, so that story, that's the main sort of, the big story that's come this last few days about this whistleblower. But there's another story that's popped up. This is on the Express, the Daily Express. Marine vet claims his unit saw UFO being loaded with weapons by unmarked US forces. A former US Marine breaks a 14-year silence. That number again. To reveal details of an amazing close encounter with a UFO while on active service in Indonesia in 2009, so not that long ago. Claiming that that's 14 years. Claiming that clandestine US troops were loading weapons onto it, and there's a not an actual photo. Recreation, they'd put. An ex-Marine has broken a 14-year silence to come out with claims about seeing a flying saucer while serving in Indonesia in 2009. Not only did he, along with a few colleagues, see a hovering octagonal craft in the jungle, he also says it was being loaded with weapons by clandestine US forces. The remarkable comments came from 33-year-old Michael Herrera, so he was 19 at the time, who served 4 years in the US Air Force, but has now turned whistleblower, another one, to reveal his extraordinary story. He also says he and his 6-man unit from the 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, Echo Company 2nd Platoon, were in the country on a humanitarian mission during the 2009 Sumatra earthquake, were threatened at gunpoint and told never to speak a word about the incident. Herrera, who was encouraged by new UFO whistleblower protections to speak out, and who testified under oath to the government's UFO investigation team, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARROW, and the Senate committee, was rerouted to the Philippines to Indonesia after a 7.6 magnitude earthquake struck Sumatra on September 30th, 2009. His unit's job was to help guard helicopter aid drops around Padang City, which had been plagued by violence from local insurgents. On October 8th, after they had been dropped off in a clearing just north of the city, they hiked up a 900-foot ridge to wait for an incoming supply. It was then that the men witnessed the craft. Herrera told DailyMail.com, "I could see something moving and rotating. It was changing colours between a very light matte grey to a very dark matte black. It stuck out like a sore thumb." The thing was massive, the size of a football field. The craft was rotating in a clockwise motion while changing colours. It had an audible hum to it. It was an octagonal shape, with a pyramid at the top of it that was black. It had scales that were on the outside of the craft that covered the whole craft. It had seams and sharp edges, which I suspect to be man-made, and it had some panels on the vertical edges that were like Vanta black. Vanta black is a super black coating, apparently. Herrera took some pictures and video of the craft on his Panasonic camera, but a few days later the memory card and battery were stolen, along with his colleagues' phones. And there's Stephen Greer, who I'm not entirely sure about. In many ways, the former Marine said that when they got to within around 150 feet of the craft, they were suddenly ambushed by 8 men wearing all black camouflage, and for Vanta black camouflage. Bulletproof vests. Sorry, I'm being naughty. Bulletproof vests wielding M4 rifles with high-end night vision attachments. With their weapons drawn, the men threatened to kill the Marines and took their guns and ammunition from them, before proceeding to load large weapons cases from modified Ford F-350 trucks onto a platform beneath the craft. When the last 2 trucks finished unloading and drove off, the lower part of the platform rose off the ground to about 10 feet, and the craft lowered to meet it and came together into one piece, Herrera continued. It rose off the ground and a little past the trees and then shot off to our left towards the ocean at around 4,000 miles per hour. How does he know this? I don't know. From a dead stop, it didn't make any sound like a sonic boom. It didn't disturb the trees like rotor wash would. We could see coconuts on the trees and none of them were disturbed. The Marine unit eventually made it back to base and none of them ever mentioned their bizarre encounter. Did they get the weapons back? Does it say? Hang on. No. Not very good Marines, are they? Just, allowing themselves to have the weapons taken from them. But anyway. But in early December 2009, Herrera was at Camp Hansen in Okinawa, Japan. He reported to the office where an Air Force Lieutenant Colonel in full uniform but no name tag was waiting for him. Herrera said, "He starts telling me you're not allowed to talk about what happened, not to your chain of command, not even a general. You will go to prison or you will die." He told me to keep my mouth shut and slid a paper to me, which was an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. The only thing I can recall is that it said TSSCI, top secret, sensitive, compartmented information. Was it compartmentalised? Whatever. And it had Indonesia on it. After signing it, he ran back to the barracks and did not utter a word about the incident for the next 14 years. He served for 4 years and then became a millionaire entrepreneur, and now runs a private security company called Valkyrie. How bizarre. Served for 4 years and then became a millionaire. Can I serve 4 years and become a millionaire? And after UFO whistleblower protections were enacted in December, that prompted the ex-Marine to finally tell his story. But he claims his 5 former colleagues are too scared to come out and say anything. Herrera also said that in 2017 he met UFO activist Dr. Stephen Greer at a conference and he helped persuade him to talk and connected him with congressional and Arrow staffers earlier this year. Herrera is also planning to tell his story at a press conference at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. on Monday, June 12th, so tomorrow, if you're watching this, when I upload it, organised by Greer alongside 4 other UFO witnesses. He likes doing his National Press Club things, does Greer, doesn't he? I used to like Stephen Greer, but I'm not sure about him anymore. He comes across as a bit of a phony. I'm sorry, and I wish he wasn't, because he seems a nice, personable chap, but I don't believe anything he says. But that's an interesting story. It's an interesting story. Is it true? Well, I don't know. Why not? But you wouldn't think a squad of Marines would allow themselves to be disarmed quite so easily, would you? But I wasn't there, so I don't know the circumstances. But it's interesting, and it kind of suggests that what they encountered was a reverse-engineered craft. From what we were talking about in the previous story. He said it looked as though it was, it had been altered by humans. So it could have been a reverse-engineered craft or a modified, alien craft. But it's an interesting story. So, right, so we'll leave it there for now. because I'm sure there'll be news about this National Press Club thing tomorrow. So if there's news about it, I'll do a quick video. So there we go. Right, so I'll leave it there. I just thought I'd share that with you. A bit of interesting UFO-based information, UAP, whatever you want to call them. Right, so wherever you are, look after each other, watch the skies, and until next time, I'll see thee.